Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us for this webinar series of helping career aspirants of enterprise IT solution. My name is Sadhna and I will be the moderator for this event. Just to give a brief about our company, first of all, bodht is pronounced as bodht, where D and H are silent. I repeat, bodht is pronounced as bodht. And secondly, we are very proud to mention that we are the first enterprise IT solution focused online training platform. Yes, we are the first enterprise IT solution focused online training platform. Initially, we trained offline, but in the recent times, we have shifted online. We both are a decade-old company focused on training aspirants on enterprise IT solutions. In the past, we have trained large number of professionals in this area who have made a great career in their respective segment. We've also done a lot of corporate trainings for large MNCs. All our training programs are designed by industry experts who will handhold you to success in enterprise IT solutions. After the completion of the course, you can generate a course certificate. Also, our new enterprise IT job newsletter, blog post, website keeps you updated about interview questions, job feed, etc. We also have another wing called bodht. You can find it at bodht.com. This wing mainly concentrates on implementation and support projects. It also does resource contracting. Coming to our clients list, who we have done corporate trainings to, we have Tech Mahindra, Honeywell, Tata, Flowserve, Accenture, Infosys, Behr, GE, Cognizant. These are a few to name. Coming to the webinar, before we begin the webinar, we would like to make a few announcements. First, I'd like to introduce you to today's presenter, Suresh Bodht, who is also the founder of bodht.com. The topic of this webinar is Career Possibilities in Enterprise IT Solution, also called as Business Applications. This webinar is designed to be interactive between you and our presenter. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to type them out in the chat and we will send them to our presenter. We'll answer them during the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. We will hopefully have time to get to everyone. With this being said, Suresh, I hand it over to you.
Thank you, Sadhana, for that wonderful introduction about bodht.com. Hi everyone, I am Suresh Bodht. I welcome you all to this webinar on what are the career possibilities for you if you have to make career in this enterprise IT solution. As she was mentioning, this is sometimes also called as business application or business IT solution or enterprise solution. It is all the same. I welcome you all. So in today's webinar, the agenda is something like this. We first understand what is this enterprise IT solution and what are the different solutions under that. So that we are going to look at it, and who are the different major players in this particular segment when we say enterprise IT solution. And finally, we will look at what are the different roles and what would be the required qualification, and if some roles need some past experience, what kind of experience is needed. So all of this we will explore, and also at last we will have the Q&A where we try to answer most of your questions. Let's start. So very first thing you will have to know when we say enterprise IT solution. So what are the kind of companies that would need? So here if you look at it, it is useful for every company, whether it is product based or whether it is service based. Any of the company would definitely need the enterprise IT solution, because those are gone days where people used to write down everything and manage the show of the company. So those days are gone. Everything is now based on the IT system. So every company would definitely need the enterprise IT solution to manage their business. So every domain needs it. That's the crux of the thing. And when we say enterprise, so please note, when we say enterprise, some may call it as company, some may call it as business, or whatever. It is basically the enterprise in this particular segment, we call it as enterprise. And when we say an company or enterprise, so what can be different departments? They may have sales department, production, quality, they may have HR, design, purchase. There can be many more than this. So these are just some of the departments what they would have. And what are the different business solutions they may need to run these different departments for the success of an enterprise. So please note that now we have major IT solutions, or you can say the business solutions, like PLM, product lifecycle management. We have customer relationship management, CRM, and we have enterprise resource planning, ERP. Then we have supplier relationship management, SRM. Then we have supply chain management, SCM, and we have human capital management, which is related to human resource. So we have many different business solutions, and the beauty of these business solutions is they are all interconnected, because these are all finally for an enterprise. So all of these can be interconnected, and there can be the data flow back and forth. So that is one important thing. And now let us take up this ERP. When we say enterprise resource planning, so what are the things that are there involved in that? So this ERP, if you look back, those days when it started as MRP, that is material requirement planning. So then it became MRP2 with some additional things. Then it became ERP. So it is a constantly evolving solution. So, but as of now, we have this finance management covered under this ERP. Then we have the order management, all the orders related to the companies, what they receive, and related to that, whatever is the inventory that needs to be taken care. So that inventory management is also taken care in this particular segment. And then we have this PLM, product lifecycle management. Again, under this PLM, one category that you may usually come across is the product data management, which is in short called as PDM. So this PDM is mainly revolved around the data of an enterprise, because if you take whether it is discrete industry or process industry, they have huge amount of data. Maybe data may be sitting in CAD files, or maybe some formulas or whatever. So that data management is one major area. Then we have the project management, where company would have many projects parallelly running. So to manage the project, there is one sub-module under PLM called project management. Then we have asset management. So this is to do with all the assets, effective management of that particular company. So that is covered here. Then we have the quality management, where anything to do with quality of the product can be managed with this quality management system, which is coming under this PLM. So this is about the PLM. So then we have this CRM, the customer relationship management. This is mainly revolving around your sales, marketing, all of that is taken care, where you may run some campaigns, you may generate some leads. There may be some opportunities which you want to convert into the actual sales. So quote management and purchase order, sales order related, delivery, invoice. So all of that related to the customer management, or you can say customer relationship management, can be taken care in CRM business solution. So then we have this human capital management, because when you say an enterprise, so definitely it is made of many machines and humans and capital. So you have many different resources of an company. So this is mainly revolving around managing the human resource. So you have the talent acquisition, and then you have the people management, and then the attendance and leave and management. You have the payroll and compensation management, and how do they perform, and how do you manage their different talents, what they have, and all of these related to HR, including the analytics. So that all can be handled in this particular segment, that is human capital management. So then we have the SRM module, that is supplier relationship management, because when you say enterprise, they may have hundreds of thousands of suppliers. So how do you manage the suppliers? You may have purchasing thing automated, where you may have some e-catalog, e-invoicing, e-payments, where based on the condition all these things will happen. And then you have the supplier management itself, where supplier can do the registration with the self-service, that would be there. Then you have the spend and performance analysis, because this company, especially when it comes to government agencies, there has to be very strict spend and performance analysis. So that can be taken care in this module. And even for bigger organization, they definitely would need this spend and performance analysis. Then the operation procurement, maybe self-service procurement, or service procurement, or plan-driven procurement. So based on what is the type of procurement, so that it can take care. And then comes the sourcing. So you have this e-tendering, e-auction. So all of this can be handled through this SRM, supplier relationship management. Then we have this SCM, supply chain management, especially with this era in which we are, where companies like Amazon, Flipkart, there are so many e-commerce companies into picture, and also there are many companies who produce so much of products. So managing their supply chain has become one of the predominant and important thing in this era. So the entire supply chain management would involve developing the supply chain strategy and logistics management, procurement, even you have this transport management, and information related to this particular supply chain. How do you manage? And asset management also included, because when you say supply chain, you have so many different assets. Maybe it can be your containers and all that. So you have to have the proper mechanism for managing the entire supply chain. So this is one major area by itself. And then we have one more additional thing called BI, that is business intelligence. So this becomes very important in today's era we are in, because your business objectives are driven by so many factors. See, market is giving you some information, customers are with their day-to-day transactions, they are giving you some data, and you have your ERP system, EMI system, or MES system. So every system is giving you every day the data, what kind of consumption happening, what kind of material movement happening, what kind of demand is taking place. And apart from that, you have the competitors and different suppliers. They're also feeding a lot of data. So you consider all of this data, and you have nowadays very intelligent business intelligence tools with which you can derive what would be my best move to make a profit, or make a better decision in this particular situation. So for that, and also to set the goals and set the vision. So this is very important element of any business, that is business intelligence. This is also one of the area. This will involve a lot of analytic tools, and also a lot of intelligence adopting tools. So all of that will be there in BI. So these are all different business solutions that would be there. And then comes very important question, who are all the major players when we say enterprise IT? Who are all different players? See, as you know, one of the big player in this particular segment is of course SAP. And then comes Oracle. Then comes your Microsoft Dynamics. And then apart from that, when it comes to CRM, you would have heard of Salesforce. And then you have NetSuite in ERP segment, even Sage is there, Infor is there, and Siemens is there in PLM segment, and PTC. So there are so many different players fighting, of course, in this particular segment. So you have so many different players in this particular area of business. So then comes a very, very important question. Now, when I have to make career into this, so what are the different options do I have? So one very important thing what you all have to remember here is that if, let's say, you are a fresher, for example, now you may be best fit for to become a business user, in the sense, let's say you come with some finance degree or diploma. So you get into the finance department, and when you are getting inside the finance department, maybe as a finance executive or whatever, so if you know some of these tools with which you can manage the finances of the company, or maybe let's say you are getting into procurement or quality or design, so whatever is your respective area where you come from, so it all depends on what qualification you carry from the college where you study. So based on that, you can pick up your area of business. For example, let's say I'm a mechanical engineer. Now, it would be better for me if I learn, let's say, the product data management, which is under PLM. Similarly, let's say I'm a graduate from commerce and I want to get into procurement. Maybe, I may be more interested to learn the procurement part, which may be there in ERP, or maybe I may pick up even the materials management. So depending on what is your background, what is your qualification, and what is your area of interest, so based on that you may pick up the skills with which you can easily go into the company and grow in the company. So that is one important thing. And then comes the testing engineer. See, when you know the functional part of how the enterprise systems work, for example, as I gave you the example before, let's say finance guy. Now he knows how to deal with the system for the day-to-day activities of the finance department. He knows how to use the system. So he can be the business user, or he can be even testing engineer. Means, let's say a company is implementing this particular solution, maybe from SAP or Oracle or any of the company. So this guy can help this company to test if there is a team implementing. So he can be even deployed for testing. So that is a possibility. And as you grow, you can even become a process consultant, because you are very good at the system and the process involved. So maybe you may become a process owner in the company, where any changes or any improvements related to that particular process, you will be the main person for it, or it will be your baby. You have to take care of that in the company. So you can be even process consultant. So please note, these are all the roles which are purely functional. There is no technical thing involved like coding or anything. This is purely functional. Okay. And then you can be even support engineer. Means if you know this system well as a user, how to use this system, you may be even deployed as a support engineer, where you may receive call or receive tickets where they say that this is not working, that is not working. So since you carry that knowledge of how to deal with this system, you may help these business users as a support engineer. That is another possibility. Then comes the consulting roles. So this is usually after at least you cross, let's say, 2+ years or 3+ years, and you want to get into the consulting role, where you become an implementation consultant. So where you understand the customer process, you go with a company which is an implementation partner, or who are into implementation services, maybe of SAP, or maybe of Oracle, or Microsoft Dynamics, or Sage, any of these solutions. So you have that knowledge of implementing, plus you have the knowledge of that particular business process. So you understand the customer requirement, you prepare the business blueprint, and you're going to plan the entire implementation, take consent of the client, and then you do the implementation. So that is one possibility as an implementation consultant. Or you can be data migration consultant. Say sometimes they go hand in hand, in the sense that when you are implementing, let's say they had some X system before, now they are moving to Y system, or maybe they had some old legacy system which is very old, a lot of data is sitting there. Now all of that data has to be brought here to the new system, and fields will have to be mapped, and maybe you have to clean up some of the unwanted data. So all of that activity is what is involved in becoming a data migration consultant. So that is the thing. Then we have the system architect. So this is quite a senior role, where you know the entire system and you know the entire business, and you are at a stage where you can give them guidance. See, you can improve your business this way. So you are architect. So you design the entire system, this particular enterprise IT system, as well as what can be the better practice in that particular department. So this is a higher role called system architect. So this is something you can target for if you are a functional guy working in any of the company. So that is the possibility. So till now, whatever we have discussed, the earlier business user roles and the consulting roles, these all can be purely functional, means there is no need for coding at all. No C, C++, Java or Python or ABAP, no coding. It's just purely the functional knowledge and the experience what you carry is going to add value to your career. So that is the thing. So then comes important thing, that is technical roles. So there are some people or some professionals who are more inclined towards the programming. So they want to become programmers. So for them there are technical roles, in the sense, if you take again example of same of these products, for example, let's say SAP, Oracle or Microsoft. So they're all built on some platform, some programming language. So when we say these enterprise IT solutions, please note that 90% of the requirements can be achieved by functional consultants if the implementation is straightforward and simple, where they just open the out of the box options where they can tweak the system as per the needs of the business. But there can be some special requirements. Maybe it is to connect different systems, or maybe to achieve some additional functionalities. So then what you need to do is you have to take help of a programmer. So you see, sometimes this programmer, what we say, is also called as developer. So these are the guys who come with the respective programming background. For example, if it is SAP, the server side customization is done by ABAP coding. So this guy has to know ABAP coding. Maybe if it is some other system which is built on Java, so he would know Java or .NET. So depending on what is the system and what is the platform it is built on, so that language programmer will have to be taken help from. So that is about this technical role called programmer. So then we have the system admin. This is sometimes also called as basis admin or basis consultant, especially in SAP world, this particular term called basis consultant, but otherwise it is a system admin. Now, what is the job of a system admin? Please note that this system admin is one who is responsible for maybe installing that system if it is on-premise system, or maybe if it is a cloud system, he is kind of an admin where he will be looking into the system side. So he will not get into the business side. He will be purely a guy who is meant for the system side. Maybe if it involves installing some database, installing some solution, and getting the connectivity, the speed test, all of those things are handled by the system admin. So that is next role. Then we have another section of these technical roles called the UI developer, because when you have this server of this enterprise IT where many of the users are getting connected, so obviously you need to have a good UI developed. So many times these all come with developed UI, but sometimes there is need for change, as we were discussing earlier on the programmer task. So once that program is modified, maybe accordingly even UI development needs to be modified. The UI has to be modified. So in that case, these UI developers would take care of that particular section of the work. So that is about the technical roles. So then, one important thing to be aware of when you come to bodht.com, that we have many free and paid courses which you can try out, taking free courses first. Then if you like it, you can go for the paid courses. As Sadhana was mentioning, the beauty of our particular platform is that we handhold you, and we are focused company on enterprise IT solution. It's not that we train on every possible thing in IT, like coding and other things. So we are focused only on enterprise IT solution, whether it is you are trying to become a business user or an implementation consultant, or you can be trying for some technical roles. So we do handhold you for these different possibilities of your career. So that is one important thing. And also you get a lot of job feeds, in the sense what are the requirements in the market. You can get feed from us, and so like that there are so many different possibilities, and we have e-learning courses as well as live courses. You can choose whichever the option that you want. So that is one important thing.